Every time the prisoner finishes taking the medicine, they would all secretly spit it out when the prison guards weren't paying attention. Then, after confirming that there was no one around, he took out the antibiotics he bought at a high price again. Then the bottle was tied with the stolen fishing line. The other end was tied to the back teeth. When everything is ready, the man put the bottle into his mouth immediately. Then, without the slightest hesitation, it was swallowed into the stomach. Then he disassembled the lighter into 8 pieces. Only keep the flint that will be used later. It was stuffed under the nails and hidden. After finishing all this, he tied his wrist with shoelaces again. Then he placed his thumb on the edge of the desktop. Exert force simultaneously with the right foot and wrist. The thumb immediately twisted and dislocated on the spot, although it is a piercing pain. But the man gritted his teeth, not daring to make the slightest sound, because he knew clearly that this was the only chance of escaping from prison. Hunt himself was responsible for 2 lives. She is a serious criminal under strict supervision. He, who was thought to be bound to stay in prison forever. It wasn't long before things took a turn for the better. The son of Police Captain John has blood cancer, and coincidentally, only Hunt's bone marrow can match it. John had no choice but to turn to Hunt for help. It is hoped that he can donate his bone marrow, but to John's surprise, Hunter agreed immediately after hearing this. However, there is a prerequisite, that is to allow him to smoke in prison, and it should also be able to freely enter and exit the library. John didn't expect the conditions to be so simple. Desperate to save his son, he readily agreed. Little did they know that they had fallen into Hunter's trap, because smoking wasn't Hunt's real purpose. What he really needs is the flint inside, and going to the library to read books is just a cover-up. The aim is to steal the detailed structural diagrams in the hospital. When everything is ready, Hunt was escorted by countless guards, arrived at the hospital where John's son was, but at this moment, because his hands were handcuffed, it is simply impossible to extract the bone marrow from the back. Just as everyone was discussing countermeasures, Hunt has quietly put the medicine bottle containing antibiotics into his mouth. Then, at the strong request of the doctor, Hunter was handcuffed and tied to the bed. Then an anesthetic was injected immediately to start the anesthesia. Little did they know that Hunt had already crushed the bottle at this time. Swallow all the antibiotics inside. Soon, the doctor, who was completely bewildered, noticed something was amiss. According to various physical signs, Hunt wasn't under anesthesia at all, just when everyone is about to be anesthetized again.